In Fast 10, the bad guy is Batista. He has a mysterious woman with him, though. Turns out it's Gal Gadot. She's still alive. She's been brainwashed. They go to fight Batista. As they're approaching, though, Tyrese goes, guys, they got a cat plane. We gotta hit him from below. Lucky for them, Ludacris has a brother played by none other than Ja Rule. Okay? Ja Rule makes cars to go underwater. He makes submarine cars. He joins the team. They defeat Batista. They get back Gal Gadot. And at the end of the movie, for no reason at all, Vin Diesel goes, I don't got relatives. I got family. Let's go make some fucking money.
Hi everyone, I'm Dom Griffin. I'm a film critic and you're watching The Armchair Auteur. This is an ongoing video series I do where we talk about new movies, old movies, screenplay analysis, television series reviews, that sort of thing. So if you like movies and movie adjacent popular culture and you want to see somebody pick those things apart, please consider subscribing. I know many of you were probably expecting a review of F9 today, the latest Fast and Furious film that was released this weekend, but I've already written a full review of that movie for looper.com, so I will link that in the description below if you want to see a straightforward review of F9 before you go to see it. This is going to be something a little bit different. I, over the last couple of months, have rewatched the entire Fast and Furious series, the Fast Saga, if you will. So I'm gonna do the normal person thing when it comes to creating content on YouTube. I'm going to rank all of them subjectively, highly subjectively, based on my own personal opinions, and hopefully in the course of this video you all can find a way to disagree with me without wanting to ask me to drop a pin and reveal my location and come make me catch these theoretical hands. It's important to understand that I am kind of a Fast stan, and I may, in the course of this video, praise things non-believers may find goofy as hell, but conversely, there's definitely going to be stuff I don't care for or overlook that might incense other more ardent followers. Just know this video is in good fun and there is no reason to come at me with a fucking wrench for not having rankings that line up with yours. We are all familia here. So before we get into the rankings proper, I do want to address why I love these movies so much in the first place. I am not a gearhead. I literally cannot drive a car. So based on the initial film's premise alone, there's no real reason why I would ever come to love this franchise, outside of its initial kinship to Catherine Bigelow's classic film Point Break.
I owe you a 10-second car.
Vaya con Dios.
But over the course of its many changes and permutations, I have come to adore this strange and complex series, a paean to the inexorable bonds of blood, the comforts of a cold Corona, and the addictive balm for the spirit that is going really, really fucking fast. It is not necessarily the best movie franchise, troubled by its own set of drawbacks, such as the continued employment of goober-ass Tyrese Gibson, a questionable dedication to its female characters, the fact that out of 9 straight soundtracks, these movies have only produced 2 genuine bangers. But I love these big, dumb, earnest movies. Now, in rewatching all these movies, my opinions of these films have shifted somewhat, drastically in some cases. But we first must dispense with 2 honorable mentions that will not actually be on this list. Better Luck Tomorrow, despite canonically being the first appearance of Han and director Justin Lin's feature debut, is not, strictly speaking, a Fast and Furious movie. But the reason I didn't rewatch it for this is because I remember really loving this movie the first time I saw it, one of my early favorite indie flicks, and the idea of revisiting it and discovering it's maybe not as good made my stomach hurt. So I just chose to leave this one trapped in amber where I can pretend it's still an unassailable banger. Please allow me that. Hobbs & Shaw is more technically a Fast film, except that it's not. Getting too deep into the Vin Diesel-Dwayne Johnson feud is definitely a topic for another video entirely, but as much as people have been roasting Vin for saying he had to coach The Rock to a good performance in Fast 5, he's not exactly wrong. Luke Hobbs works so well in Fast 5 because he's basically a human growth hormone version of Tommy Lee Jones' Sam Gerard from The Fugitive. He's a no-nonsense Mountie who always gets his man.
Stay the fuck out of my way.
I don't care!
It's a notable departure from The Rock doing The Rock things in all of his other movies, and it was such a thrill to see him blend himself into the established world of the Fast universe. But Hobbs & Shaw, as fun as it was to me on first viewing, is a hollow and awkward misunderstanding of how buddy films work. It's got way too much Dwayne shit, the most uninspired stay-them work in years, and fucking Ryan Reynolds is in it doing his tired shtick. The only time the movie feels of a piece with the series proper is in the third act, when the family themes come to the fore and we get the fun cameo from the tribal chief himself, Roman fucking Reigns. Otherwise, it's a depressing misreading of why we love these movies in the first place. I also didn't watch Turbocharged, Los Bandoleros, or that animated series, so we're keeping it strictly feature-oriented for this list. Now, with that out of the way, on to the main course. Gonna have to rip the band-aid off here and talk about my least favorite Fast film, which I am well aware many people actually love.
Pockets ain't empty, cuz.
And we ain't hungry no more either, bruh.
Upon revisiting Too Fast, Too Furious, I liked it more than any of the other times I watched it, but I still don't love it. Look, John Singleton's direction is strong, it's got a great vibe, feeling kind of like a cool episode of Miami Vice but with more nos. It gave us Ludacris, Devin Aoki, and one of the series' truly great catchphrases.
Ejectocito, cut!
But look, I can't stand Roman Pierce. I only like Tyrese in 3 things. Getting choked by Ving Rhames and Baby Boy.
Mom. Yeah, that's right.
That Coca-Cola commercial where he's on the bus. And him drilling a hole into Genuine's head with his eyes during this iconic talk show performance. Otherwise, I would have been fine with him, 1, not being in this movie, and 2, not being in any other Fast movie, save for one particular moment in Fast 6 that I really like, which we will address later. Also, why the fuck is Cole Hauser playing an Argentinian? Have y'all seen this man's father?
You got no goddamn class, okay? My buddy here can speak Hamlet, all right? You want to hear it or not?
So look, while it's a cute and interesting sequel, and I understand why it has its fans, Too Fast, Too Furious is just my least favorite Fast movie. Something had to come in dead last. But this next one might sting a little bit more for some folks.
But this is crazy, man. We got mercenaries with some real heat on us. I mean, I ain't scared of nothing, but man, I don't even have a gun.
I ride pretty hard for James Wan, and I remember loving Furious 7. But upon revisiting it, woof. I always say in my videos that if you have a really good ending to an otherwise bad movie, most audiences will forgive any transgressions that come before it.
Tell you a secret. The last act makes a film. Wow them in the end, you got a hit. You can have flaws, problems, but wow them in the end, and you've got a hit.
But the raw emotive power of Paul Walker's send-off really, truly made me memory hole a significant portion of this film. Like, sure, the action is largely fantastic and there's a lot of really fun moments throughout, but it is an absolute mess, overstuffed with plot and severely lacking in real cohesion. The entire God's Eye subplot, the overlong third act, look, no amount of Kurt Russell being great is enough to paper over how subpar this film is compared to the 2 outings that precede it. Obviously, a lot of that is due to all the behind-the-scenes scrambling necessary to work around Walker's tragic death, but you cannot convince me this one was on track to be great even before his passing. It is a serious low point for the series that is protected by housing one of its most touching finales. Of all the Fast movies I plan on revisiting in the future, this is one I plan on never seeing again. Next up, a slight improvement. The Fate of the Furious is only marginally better than Furious 7, but despite being needlessly chaotic, having Scott Eastwood in it for no reason, and furthering the series' descent into nonsensical madness, it's still a fun flick. The entire bit of Dom turning on the family and the movie treating it like Ra's al Ghul using Batman's contingency plans against the Justice League and Tower of Babel works so much better than it should. Having Dom's mysterious son being the only thing that can make him turn on his people is a stroke of genius. Even if fridging the child's mother is fucking amateur hour. Charlize is a better villain than most of the series' baddies and is clearly having a ball chewing all the scenery. It's not higher on the list because Shaw's face turn still doesn't feel fully earned, even though I've made my peace with it as a booking decision. And in general, every movie past Fast 6 suffers from a ragtag group of outlaws essentially becoming cops. Seriously, so much of this series is so anti-law enforcement that their odd evolution into the feds just sours even the best moments. I truly hope when we get around to the 2-part Fast 10 finale, Lynn and company find a way to pivot away from this unfortunate status quo. And now the new one.
Jacob is Dom's brother.
Your whole life, you pushed yourself to be faster than Dom, smarter than Dom, stronger than Dom. But could you kill him?
I won't talk too much about this one because it just came out and I do have a full review of it in the comments below, so it's not like I've had a lot of time to like rethink about it like the way I have the other films. But suffice to say, it's better than the last two movies by a country mile. John Cena is fucking amazing as Jacob Toretto, very, very, very quickly becoming my favorite Fast character in the entire series, like leaping over Han, like just fucking flipping over him. Justin Lin being back in the director's chair is a very, very welcome presence. Like, part of me wishes we got to see more interesting esoteric directors get their chance at shaping the future of this franchise, but honestly, if we're going to be wrapping the series up soon, and I do believe that one more movie is probably more than enough, he's the guy who should come back. He's the one who essentially shaped it into what we know and love today, and him being back it just feels right. Also, not nearly enough Cardi B or Helen Mirren. Like, if they had slightly more of either of those two in this movie, it would definitely leapfrog 2 or 3 places into this list. There's just one scene in the movie that really stuck with me that I didn't get to talk about very much in my actual printed review, and it happens in this sort of dreamlike sequence, I don't want to spoil too much, of Dom remembering his father, Jack Toretto.
I remember everything about my father.
And we get to hear Jack Toretto sort of explain to his son why he loves Detroit muscle cars so much, and how they sort of transcend the body that they're originally built with, how you can take pieces out of a car, you can replace different parts, and it'll still drive the same. Like, if you take care of it and you love it, and you keep everything running smoothly, you can just have it forever. Like, it's just a forever thing, like sort of a ship at the easiest thing or whatever. And it's hard to really explain in words what I love about the scene so much without like showing you B-roll of the scene or just cutting to it as a clip, which I can't do. But I don't know how intentional it was or how metatextual it was intended to be, but listening to Jack Toretto talk about cars is kind of what I love about these movies. Like, this franchise is a super weird assemblage of strange plot machinations and tone shifts and all sorts of stuff, but it all feels of a piece with one another. Like, even though they swap parts out over time and characters leave and get resurrected or killed or whatever, it always feels like the same moving vehicle. And it kind of feels like this really purposeful metaphor of what a found family is like. The people you choose to walk alongside in life might not be the ones that you came into this world with, but you guys are gonna get to the destination just the same. And that's one of the things I love about the series. Like, it's about family and why blood is so important, but it's also about how just people that you encounter and you get close to and that you love, that they're family too. It doesn't matter if you were born together or if you're blood related. I know it's a silly thing, but it's something that just really speaks to me about these movies. I have a lot of friends that I consider to be closer than many of my actual family members. So I don't know, I relate to the idea of performing heists with them or stopping global evil spy masters and then going to a cookout afterwards. Like, that's like my shit. And the fact that F9 is still a little messy and still not as good as some of the earlier films, but it still houses that central kernel, that idea, that's why I love it so much.
I told you, you gotta talk to Braga.
Bring him up, Dom.
Oh, God, don't drop me, it's all I know.
Bring him up.
Yeah, listen to him.
You here to take me in, O'Connor?
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
Shut up!
Lady was my friend, too.
You weren't anyone's friend.
It's probably a little bit controversial to have this in my top 5. I know that for most people who like the Fast movies, Fast and Furious, the 4th film, is like their least favorite movie. Like, anytime I look up lists, it's usually ranked pretty low, but I love this movie for the simple reason that it's essentially my first real Fast and Furious movie. For me, it's the real birthplace of the franchise. It's Vin coming back and doing a soft reboot, taking the themes and tone from Tokyo Drift, but bringing the core cast back, reckoning with everything left unsaid from the first film, and forging a new path ahead. The action is great, the interplay with the original characters is awesome, it's got Vin doing roadside CSI shit, John Ortiz is spectacular as the villain. It's maybe the most meat and potatoes unglamorous of the Fast films, but it's still one of my absolute favorites. It's also the one where Brian O'Connor feels the most like a real character, and the one that gave us Shea Wiggum, so it's unassailable in my eyes. If you don't like it, give Fast and Furious another chance. I'm telling you, it's good.
Hey, Mia, you better hide your baby, or I'm just playing.
You better hide that big-ass forehead.
So that's the scene I was referring to earlier. Love that bit. Look, Fast and Furious 6's only failing is just that it's not Fast 5.
But this changes nothing.
It changes everything.
It's just as thrilling, even more exciting because it's colored by a sense of real menace, and Owen Shaw is arguably the series' greatest villain because he's the anti-Dom. His entire crew runs on the sort of professional apathy and calculated selfishness Toretto's gang could just never vibe with. Luke Evans is incredible in the role, and the entire Letty amnesia plot is exactly as Chris Claremont X-Men as the Fast franchise should be. There are set pieces in this movie that nothing else in the franchise can touch, and while it can't quite topple the pure glee of the movie that preceded it, it comes so fucking close close that it's honestly pretty hard to argue with. A touching, if off-kilter love story, an undeniable tragedy, a killer closing credit sequence, Dom and Hobbs hitting the doomsday device on a motherfucker, a stone cold classic. It also just holds up a lot better than most of their movies. The sixth film is one you can rewatch all the time. It really, really does have like that replay value that some of the other ones just do not. I like it so much, in fact, that as I'm recording this, I'm sort of mentally convincing myself to place it higher on the list. But no, I worked very hard on these rankings, and I'm not gonna spontaneously diverge from them now. But man, I love this movie.
What are you smiling about?
Dude, I almost had you.
I'll be honest that I don't have very much to say about this movie, but not unlike my feelings on the original Mission Impossible movie, it would seem criminal not to include it in the top 3. Obviously, Rob Cohen is no Brian De Palma, but the first movie holds up well, has such distinctly 2001 vibes that every time I even look at the poster, I get hardcore Jinko nu metal PS1 flashbacks. And honestly, that's a nostalgic hit of dopamine I can't really live without these days. It's also such a wild film to watch today. Baby Vin Diesel, a pretty solid turn from Ted Levine, underrated work from Rick Yoon, the reminder that this all started with a truck full of stolen DVD players. Humble beginnings, but charming and lovable nonetheless. Rewatching the scene of Dom explaining how his dad died hits different after seeing F9, by the way, so if you haven't yet, definitely give this one another spin before or right after you catch the new one. Trust me.
Now let's race. With what, huh? Your skateboard? Easy to sound cocky when you got no ride. Take mine. Let's race.
When I first saw Tokyo Drift, it was actually the first Fast and Furious movie I ever watched. And I fucking hated it. Me and some friends snuck into it from another movie and laughed at it the entire time. But not long after its theatrical release, it became a rerun mainstay on TNT, one of its new classics. And I watched it casually, almost every day that it came on, and somewhere between viewing number 5 and viewing number 15, it went from being something I hated to something I dug. Ironically, of course. Then, somewhere between viewing 15 and viewing 30, I grew to love it, sincerely. Right around the same time that Lynn got the whole gang back together for Fast and Furious. Look, forget the dope-ass Teriyaki Boys theme, forget the fact that Sonny fucking Chiba is in it, forget Lucas Black's grating accent and performance.
See, I'm not a total gaijin.
This is really where the Fast and Furious franchise became what we would all love. Han was a huge part of that. The film's earnest tone and exciting style was too. But it is arguably the most rewatchable of the films, and the one that makes me feel warm inside the most often. It's one of the most unique sequels ever made, and responsible for taking a turn-of-the-century relic and transforming it into a global box office juggernaut. And we love that kind of glow-up.
Yeah, what else we need?
Most importantly, we're gonna need 2 precision drivers. Guys that don't crack under pressure. Guys that never lose.
You know we got that.
Be honest with yourself. Could you imagine any other movie in this slot? This is it. This is the fucking peak. This is the platonic ideal of the Fast and Furious movie. It's Ocean's 11 drenched in Monster Energy drink, Rafifi in a tap-out tee, The Killing with wraparound shades. If Donald Westlake had written a Parker novel during like an MTV spring break, it would be something like Fast 5. It's the best. When I first saw Fast 5, it was at University Mall in Fairfax, Virginia, a second-run theater that plays movies, after they've already had their theatrical runs. It's got very stale popcorn, pretty cheap candy, even cheaper ticket prices. It's a dump. When I saw the movie, the front of the auditorium was filled with uncut lumber, like they were working on some kind of a construction project that they just gave up on. It was essentially the dive bar version of a theatrical experience. The movie itself was still playing on 35mm because it had not made the transition over to digital yet, and this print had been around the whole circuit before it ever got to University Mall. This print had seen some things. When the movie started up, the print was scratched to absolute shit, and it made the whole movie have an unintentional grindhouse vibe. And honestly, it may be the greatest theatrical experience I've ever had in my entire life. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. I am in fact having intrusive thoughts about turning off this camera and going to watch the movie instead of finishing this video. Honestly, if you want to cut this video off right now and go rewatch Fast 5 or watch it for the first time if you have not done so, I would not be offended in the slightest. Yeah.
But why? We have many more experienced people.
I like her smile.
Where in the hell did y'all get one of these?
Well, we had a life before you met us. I think I'm in love. I told you didn't see it.
The man right there, he let off the throttle at the line. He didn't do nothing. He let you in. It's for my team, you son of a bitch.
Still great, still perfect, still #1. Those are my Fast rankings. Those are my final, definitive, perfect, unquestionable rankings of all the films in the Fast Saga, all 9 movies. I love all these movies, some more than others, as you can tell, and I'm just happy a new one is out. We had to wait a whole year to get it. A very, very terrible year. And even though the movie's not perfect and I have tons of like gripes with it, I still really like F9 a lot. I'm glad it's out. I'm glad people are gonna get to see it in the theater. And I'm glad we're probably gonna get one more, or like one more split into 2. I'm pretty sure they're gonna definitely hollows this shit and give us Fast 10 part 1 and 2 or whatever. I'm fine with that. I want to go out on a high. I want to get one last really good movie, and then they can do their little spin-offs and side quests and more Hobbs and Shaw shit. Eventually reboot the entire thing with all the main characters' kids or something. I don't care, but like, I kind of want to see this saga come to a definitive close, and I'm glad that Lynn is back to do it. I'm glad that like Vin is, you know, helping to shepherd the whole thing. Like, you know, he's sort of like my favorite meathead auteur in the world, and yeah, I love these movies, man. And I hope you guys do too. If you hate them, I don't know how you made it this far in the video, unless you're just really weird or like you really like listening to me talk. But those are my thoughts on the Fast series, the whole Fast Saga, Fast all the way to Fast 9. I want to see your thoughts about this in the comments below. I'm pretty sure if you're passionate about these movies, you've probably already paused it multiple times to go to the comments to call me names, and that's fine. We're okay with that here. We love passion. So if you do have any thoughts about my rankings, I want to see your rankings or your thoughts on F9 or questions about the series or any of that type of stuff, put that in the comments below. I will respond to you. Obviously, I love talking to you guys. It's like one of my favorite things. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. You're telling YouTube that you like this video, and then they call me and they're like, hey, good job, man. And like, that's nice. They don't really do that, but they should. And if you've not subscribed yet, this would be a good time to do that. If you hit the little bell icon, you will get notifications whenever I put out a new video. You'll be the first person to see me jabbering about whatever. If you're into that, if you like that, I do that all the time, multiple times a week. So please do so. And yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Check out F9 in theaters now. It's fun. It's a good time. And thank you for watching. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, being good to yourselves and each other. I will see you in the next video. Bye.